Well, Minister, we've covered some of the ground in the previous question, but €5 million announced in the July stimulus for 35,000 people is a pittance. Now, you say this is just a pilot, but a pilot isn't good enough for the dire situation that faces those 35,000 people. And you know that the EPIC Working Group, the Events Industry Alliance, the National Campaign for the Arts, the MEAI representing musicians and so on are looking for a hell of a lot more, and really what they want to know is what are you recommending to the government in advance of the budget to ensure that happens and that they can survive?
Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, and yes, I will take questions 11 and 13 together. So I am pleased to inform Deputy Boyd Barrett and Deputy Smith that earlier this month I did launch a number of new music and performance schemes totalling €6 million to aid employment in the creative industries. The music stimulus package involved 3 funding schemes designed to help sustain the popular commercial music sector across all music genres, including rock, pop, hip-hop, indie, jazz, country and traditional and folk. Under this package, a fund of €1 million has been put in place to stimulate areas of work which artists would usually fund with income from own sources, including live event fees. These schemes are targeted at professional musicians and their teams and will support songwriting camps, recording and album releases. The aim is to ensure that Irish musicians, engineers, PR, media, agents, labels and publishers can continue to develop and share their work in the context of COVID restrictions. The music stimulus package schemes are being managed on behalf of the Department by First Music Contact and will be subject to peer panel assessment. Under the Live Performance Supports Pilot Scheme, a further allocation of €5 million, as you say, is being made available, which aims to assist commercial venues, producers, promoters of live performances and provide employment to workers in creative industries. My department developed the conditions of this scheme in consultation with the sector, with particular assistance from EPIC. And by the initial closing date, there was over 100 applications being received, requesting funding of over €15 million. That's why it was a pilot scheme. That's why we engaged with the stakeholders to see what would work best before we consider anything more. The Deputy will be well aware I'm not going to have the negotiations for the budget here on the floor of the House. That's what I'll be doing with my Cabinet colleagues. You'll also be aware, Deputies, that I recently appointed the Arts and Culture Recovery Task Force, which has been chaired by Claire Dignan. The membership of that task force includes representatives from the Events Industry Alliance. Taken as its starting point, the research and evidence of the devastating impact of the pandemic on the sector compiled by the Department, the Arts Council and other stakeholders, the task force will prepare a report to me setting out recommendations on how best the arts and culture sector can adapt and recover from the unprecedented damage arising from the pandemic. The sector includes culture, the arts, the audiovisual industry, the live entertainment industry. That task force has already met twice. Its proceedings will be conducted in a transparent manner and all correspondence will be published in due course. I will consider the findings of the task force as well as the experience with new schemes which were launched last month in framing any further responses to the crisis.
Yeah, let's just make a comparison, Minister. You mightn't give me the exact figures that you're recommending or in the negotiations, but in New Zealand, the package for arts, music, live entertainment, €175 million. Dwarfs what's been given to, let's remember, a live music and events sector that has never got a cent, not a cent, from government and never asked for it, and an arts sector which is one of the most poorly funded arts sectors in the entirety of Western Europe. We have taken our arts workers, our musicians, our crew, our live entertainment people for granted. Now we realise, or should realise, how badly we need these people, how much they contribute to our mental well-being, to our welfare, to our future in these grim times. And the additional money that has been put forward is, frankly, a pittance when you divide it out among the 35,000 people who work in live music, live entertainment, and so on, and add to that the arts. It really is a pittance. It's not enough. We need much more.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you. Both deputies would be well aware that you can't anticipate the budget and that I am very familiar with the pre-budget submissions of the Events Industry Alliance and everyone involved in this sector. I acknowledge your interest in these matters and I can assure you that I will be doing my best from the sector in the budget and subsequently. Just for information, the total funding for the arts in Ireland this year is €338 million. That has increased by over 30% this year. I would never have suggested, and that's why I keep emphasising the word pilot scheme, that €5 million was enough. It's a start. And, I come from this background myself. There are many deputies here who have family or friends in the sector. So I'm acutely aware of not just the performers' needs and their livelihoods who are front and centre stage, but those who enable them to go on stage. In relation to the international comparisons, I know some people look at approaches taken in other countries, but it can be very difficult to make those comparisons. Obviously, population differences mean that supports aren't directly comparable, but we need to look at what is here. Like for example, the UK, there is a very large commercial theatre sector that does not exist here to the same extent. We need to focus on the measures that are needed here in Ireland. My focus will be on the report of the task force, which consult widely to develop that clear approach, and that in turn not only will inform the budget, but will inform the National Economic Plan.
Deputy.
Yeah, but let's just be clear. At the best of times, many people who worked in the arts were on borderline poverty situations. Cuts in the PUP and the Employment Wage Subsidy Scheme will drive, potentially, thousands of people into poverty. And without sufficient grants to cover insurance costs, warehouse costs, ongoing costs, debt repayments and so on, people are going to go under, and they're going to go under soon. And historically, we have undervalued, in terms of the support provided by government, the arts, music, live entertainment sector, although we trade internationally so much on their reputation and they contribute so much to our society. They are really the glue that make us a culture and a society. So there needs to be a complete seismic shift in the mentality of government in terms of the importance of this sector to us as a society and as a people, particularly in these difficult times.
Thank you, Deputy. To conclude.
Thank you. I guarantee you I do not want to lose this sector either, and I'm very conscious of the emerging artists. For example, we ran a programme for young and emerging artists online with Hot Press earlier this year. I can also guarantee you that I have never undervalued the arts or the music. That's the background I come from, and that's what I studied. That's where all my friends, my family, I place an immense value on it. And I feel it's a privilege to be the Minister for Culture and Arts at this most challenging time, because I have a keen eye on doing what's best for this sector, to support them, not just to survive, but to thrive on the far end of COVID. And that's why I am engaging extensively with them. I have heard their concerns, and I will bring that to the negotiations, but I can't have those negotiations here on this floor. But I can guarantee you my commitment to this sector and how much I value this. It goes to our very beating hearts as a nation, as far as I'm concerned. It is our identity, and we have to stop talking and praising this without actually placing the value through supporting it.
Thank you very much, Minister.